Here we are. Welcome back to day 4 of the Elegance Challenge. You're already here, LA, from Sweden, from Germany. What a wonderful week this has been. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. South Pasadena. Wow. I lived in Los Angeles when I was a child. In Arcadia, I remember. Atlanta. I also lived in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to school, don't remember. Was it? Oh, I was 4 years old. Sagamore Hills? Don't remember. I think it was this. Good morning from Alabama, Austria, Scotland, Finland, UK, Netherlands. Oh my goodness. England. Well, welcome to all of you. Sri Lanka. Thank you so much for being here. This is day 4, and I can see you are already 40 live right now. And it's probably going to go up as we are going to start. So I'm going to put my slides here, as usual. Day 4, because today we have lots of things to do. So, day 4. So I guess you can hear me correctly, right? I forgot to ask, but I think you hear me. So day 4. So today it's something you probably will like because it's Elegance at the Table, Dubai, Vienna, Colorado. Oh my goodness. I'm just so blessed to have all of you here from so many different parts of the world. This is amazing. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. So today's focus is going to be on sort of the dining etiquette mindset and presence, hosting with grace, being a memorable guest. I will give you some insights on that you will be able to apply for yourself. So on day 1, we saw elegance on the inside, the foundations of the foundations, right? The heart elegance. The elegance from the heart. And then we saw on day 2 the elegance on the outside. We went into our closet. It was a lot of fun. I don't know what you think, but I took a lot of pleasure doing this. Day 3 was all about our elegance in the everyday, how to get organized, how to be intentional. That was very powerful. I know a lot of you liked that. And today, elegance at the table, and tomorrow, elegance in relationships. So we've got work to do, right? And I wanted to mention that if you were not here yesterday, that the doors of my Foundations Elegance program are open. So this will absolutely help you go much further with me and have access to many other principles that will really shape your elegance. And that will help you be yourself, speak your truth, act more elegantly, and dress in a more uplifting way. All of that for really uplifting your lifestyle. And this is not about surface level things. It's not about impressing. It's about expressing who you truly are at the core. So I, as a life coach, you probably know now, I really help my clients be confident, aligned, and really get more aliveness, right? So are you ready to embark with me on this elegance journey? Let's go. So elegance at the table is not just about forks and knives. And I know at first when I did French Elegance and More on Instagram, I had a lot of questions about the forks and the knives. And you would be surprised. But if you go, if you are invited to dinner, let's say, in a very high society in France, and let's say in a French chateau, right, with a very old renowned family, well, you will only have one fork and one knife. So I remember my grandmother, when she sort of, she disliked the display of things, and she would say, all these forks, all these knives, we are not at the restaurant, right? And it's really about a simplicity. We'll see that a little bit later. But so elegance at the table is not just about forks and knives. It's about creating connection and making people feel seen and cherished, and bringing beauty and presence to shared moments. Because you see, when you invite people, of course you are wanting to make them a very nice meal, but they're not coming here to eat. In fact, they're coming here for heart connection before anything else. When we invite people, we invite them to have heart and soul connection. This is the foundations. That's why usually it's not on my slides. It's just popping in my head. So I want to tell you about this. But years ago, when my parents were invited to dinner, it was very bad taste to bring a gift, to bring something. Or if they would bring something, it would be very specific. It would be like if my mother went to dinner, invited to dinner to her true friend, she would want to offer her a little something, but for her friend, and it would absolutely not be displayed, or it would just be an occasion for my mother to bring her a little thing because she likes her friend, and that's it. But in no way it was a way to, like a ticket to pay. And I remember for a very long time when I was young, I heard my parents seeing a new trend coming up, sort of new money trend, or in French old families, they saw people bringing gifts, bringing big bouquets or bottle of wines or all of that. And my parents would come home and say, why do people always have to bring gifts? I mean, it's, so before, in the olden days, let's say, things like this, it was not appropriate to bring gifts. Why? And I would ask my mother, but why? Because bringing a gift, it stems from a nice intention, right? And my mother would explain me that what I'm explaining to you right now, that well, when we invite people, we don't invite them to eat, no, or to have food, because we invite them for the human being which they are, for the elevated connection, for the intellectual and the heart connections. Then, of course, to make things nice, that would be done over nice food, of course. But it was, before anything else, for connection. That's why we don't say bon appétit. Because when you say bon appétit, which means let's have a nice meal in French, well, that means that you're focused on the food. And people traditionally in high society, were not focused on the food because we have food. And so food is not the question. Food is not the subject. Of course, we can absolutely make compliments and compliment the host, the hostess, etc. But really know that before, there was no question of exchanging gifts, because it was like paying a ticket. And I remember my grandmother said, you don't pay a ticket because you're invited to dinner, right? And so the way it was done in the olden days is that when you were invited, well, in the following year, you would then do you the invitation on them. It's like a balance. If you got invited, then you would then in the couple following months invite, so that it would balance the giving and the receiving. But never a question of money. Money was not something that we discussed about, of course. Still today, it's not a good thing to discuss. Why do we not discuss about money? Well, because we never know. We don't know how what's the money mindset of people in front of us, and we don't know their money story. Are they struggling? Are they very comfortable? So to avoid putting people into uneasy situations, then we would not want to bring up the subject of money. And I've seen people ask very directly, how much do you earn? Well, this can be very undelicate, because when you don't know, then maybe people are very comfortable, so it's okay. But what if they're not comfortable? So that's more a problem. So you never, so you see, in French elegance, you always are careful. When you don't know, you don't go there. In the goal is so people are not offended or feeling uneasy. That's the only reason. The only reason is always of making people feel comfortable, relaxed, and certainly not uneasy, right? And about the money, why don't we talk about money? It's also because when you have people that have a lot, not so much, and some are struggling, then it brings people to compare themselves. And that's so, if you are okay with talking about money, well, fine. But if you're saying, for example, oh, I did this and I earned this, etc., without asking other people, well, the problem is that it can sound that you may display, or it may sound that you have, and then that triggers the people that have financial tightness, for example. So this is one of the reasons why we don't talk about money. It's just being a little bit delicate about this. But now this is my little ode de veter sneaking in. Now, because I've done a lot of personal development over 25 years, maybe 28 now, well, I'm very grateful. So this may sound like a paradox, but I'm very grateful for people who talked about money so openly, because in our society, and we may have money blocks, and seeing people just so comfortable about talking about money has been helping me a lot. Because since when I was little, we didn't have a lot of money, so we had to be careful about everything. And so I grew up with this mindset of we have to be careful of lack. And so listening to people who were very at ease with money completely changed my money mindset. And so, you see, they're the rules, they're the principles. But then when life just happens in front of you, I have a sentence that I always repeat to myself. Life is perfect in the imperfect, because I find that there's always meaning behind every single thing. And that if you happen to come across people that are rude, or that are whatever, or you are making mistakes, or you are wrong and you feel bad about it afterwards, always look at the hidden gift behind. So yes, I've seen people, well, because we're on the subject of money, I've seen people talk about money, and I've seen also people feeling not comfortable about watching those people talking about money. But then I learned so much behind that. So let life be imperfect, because that's how we grow. That's how we learn. And that's how we can course correct, right? So this was not planned in my slides, right? But since I also listened to my inspiration, my soul, and if I had to say this to you, it was probably important, because probably some of you needed to hear some kind of this about this subject. So about dining and receiving gatherings and all that. How did it all started for me? Well, I've been welcoming guests into my home since I was young. I watched my parents host with ease. I learned from my mother, my grandmothers, and I also learned by observation. Observation is very, very important because you can see what feels good and see what you don't want, and then do your thing. That's super important. So I've hosted personally everything from small dinners to 150 guest parties, doing everything myself. So this is something that does not scare me at all. I love it. I don't do that every month, no, but I've done that quite a bit. 150 or even 200 people, yes. Well, last weekend, if you saw my stories, you probably saw that we had a family gathering in the countryside. We were about 50. And so I was really happy to do all the things. And of course I got, well, because it was in the countryside, we had a lot of things to do outside. So I've got some kind of help. Whoops. Sorry, it fell. So I just love cooking. I love making things beautiful. I love getting organized for those gatherings, and I love being intentional about all of that. Am I perfect? Certainly not. I forget things. Yes. I'm probably rude. Probably. I do my best, and that's what matters the most. And hosting and being hosted were really important lessons that we have in our family. And if you saw my stories yesterday, I shared something with you because when my mother is here, I keep my little grandson these days, but these days we're very, very busy because I have to prepare all the 5-day challenge. So we were 3 grandmothers here taking care of my grandson. So my mother, so he had his great grandmother and the other grandmother, so my son's mother-in-law. And so we got organized, and my daughters for my little Joseph. And so I got to chat with my mother a little bit. And so she recalled some souvenirs that I share here and there, and I share also in my Elegance program. So what I learned early on is when you're invited somewhere, you want to feel welcomed. You want to feel seen and heard, and you want to feel like you truly belong. But when that doesn't happen, it creates discomfort and disconnection. And this is where elegance matters. Let me give you an example, because two slides before I said I observed a lot. And I remember being invited a couple of years ago at a cousin's home. And it was a very big, we were, I don't know, at least 100 people for a cocktail party. They were friends and family. It was quite elevated, right? And I didn't know very well those cousins because they were cousins of my husband. But, and so when we arrived, so this cousin, he greeted us, and we didn't know their friends too. So we were like, they were far away cousins, right? Not near cousins. They were far away cousins. I don't know how we say that in English, but anyways. And so he greeted us, and immediately he introduced me to some people, me and my husband, and then we parted. We didn't stay together because my husband, we probably saw another cousin. So, and then he took me and said, and it was amazing the way he did it, because the way he did it, and there were over 100 people, he got me and he said, "Oh, Aude, I would love to introduce you to someone. I mean, it's super important that I introduce you to them because you have many things in common. So while we were walking to that person, he was starting putting the links, paving the way, giving me little hints of who I was going to meet. He was giving me hints of the subjects that I could probably talk about when I would meet that person. And he made me feel like I was the person that he wanted to take care of for the whole gathering. But he did that in a way that it only took him 2 minutes, but I felt like I was chosen. And then so he introduced me. And so then he said, well, I'll leave you there. And he was busy with his other guests, making them feel like they were chosen. And then he came for a second round. Oh, Aude, I need to introduce you someone. I mean, how are you? Did you get some drink? All of that. He was so there was a lot of chivalry because it was him who did a lot. Of course, she probably welcomed me, but it was a couple of years ago, so now I just remember him mostly. But you see, I'm telling you this because this was an amazing experience, and I learned so much from him. And I could also cross the information with what I have also learned from my parents, grandparents, and from what I've seen otherwise in other situations. And each time I learn. And so that's what I wanted to share. If you can make people feel chosen, valued, seen, and make them feel like they are the most important or that you waited for them, I mean, it's like the best gift that you can do for them, you see? And when that doesn't happen, we all had experiences when we were just left aside, not included. The host didn't even pay attention. People were rude, etc., etc. So this is where I say your experience guides you. And I invite you to reflect here because you probably have experience being a guest and not feeling really welcomed, right? How did it feel? What went wrong? How was the attitude of the host? How was the beauty of the gathering? So you've got to get your conclusions and be very observe this closely and wonder, ask you the right questions. Was it the beauty? Was it they were cold, or they were very nice but really not available? Or so, and then you make your own analysis and have your own conclusions and try to then learn and do your best to do something else, to do something different, to improve and elevate. So take note of this experience. There's a lot of teachings and therefore a lot of power for you. Reclaim your heart power, because in that power, when I say power, I talk about heart power, not ego power. No, heart power when it's your turn to host. So I hope this helps. Oh, and thank you. Dawn say distant cousins in England. Thank you very much. Because in French, we have our cousins. Our next cousins are the children of the sisters and brothers, the brothers and sisters of our parents. Those are cousins, right? But then when our parents have their cousins, then in French, we have a word for this. We say cousins issus de germain. And so it's more distant cousins. So question that I ask myself before I do a gathering like this. When I invite someone into my home, I get intentional. Yesterday it was all about getting organized, getting intentional. And I ask myself, how do I want them to feel? What energy do I want to bring to the table? What impression do I want to leave behind? And when I'm a guest, I ask myself, how can I be warm or considerate or present or a good listener, no matter the setting? So the foundation of a beautiful gathering. So why are you inviting people in the first place? Asking ourselves this super simple, stupid question puts things back into place because you want to have a good time with them, right? And if you want them to be happy, what are the people looking for the most? That's what I just said. They're not looking for food. They're not looking for an expensive experience. No. People are looking for unconditional love. All of us. We want to be seen, heard, considered, and chosen. We all want to feel good, to be happy and satisfied. We're all looking for well-being, right? And so here I come back to my favorite principle. These are my photos, by the way. Whether it's a dinner for 2 or garden party for 50, the answer always comes back to the principle of the heart, right? How do we create this for our guests? By operating from the heart at each step. We want to show people that we care. We want to be aware enough of their needs. So everything that you will do from the moment you send them an invitation to the moment you say goodbye, when everything's done, you follow this, right? How can you honor, respect, and value your gifts with your heart? If you say, for example, you welcome the people, and there's many people, so if you welcome them and I don't know, they need to go to the bathroom or whatever, and you'll say, well, it's over there. Well, will they really feel honored, valued, etc.? But if you take them, or if you ask, oh, wait a second, I'll ask my daughter to bring you there. Or, never let them figure it out by themselves. This is one clue, for example. Or when you say goodbye, you don't just say goodbye and there you go. Well, it depends. If you have 150 people, you're probably not going to accompany them to their car each time. But if you can say goodbye to the people and lead them as far as you can lead them, out the front door or in your garden to the car, to their car, or as far as you can lead them, that's very important. And why? Because those moments, the goodbye moments, that's sometimes the most important moments where people have waited for those moments to drop like the big stuff, the important stuff. Some people don't drop any things there, but they can. So it's important to be fully there, and we're saying goodbye to them. So we want to live, to leave an enthusiastic impression, a nice impression, a mindful impression. We want to leave them a dynamic, an energy, a heart energy, something. So the greetings and the endings are important to really do well, if I can say things like that. And so I go deep into this because I've done a full dining etiquette workshop. It's 3 full sessions of probably 90 minutes each, where I go into that. And this is one of the bonuses of the Elegance Foundation program. And one of my clients said, excellent ideas, it feels possible, and I'm excited and inspired to begin. And I have another a testimonial who says, I invited about 20 friends one evening. And they didn't know each other because they were from different groups of friends I have. I applied the principles you taught me, and my guests were having so much fun. Some of them even thanked me by message the next day. So it's important to have all the little things that uplift your social gatherings, whether it's family or work, or because it's all about presence, and it's all about the little details too. It's about everything. The second principle is the principle of beauty. And that's normally the first thing we think about when we want to have a social a gathering. Okay, how are we going to do this? How pretty can it be? But the heart principle comes first. But really next to this is beauty, the principle of beauty, because beauty, I've talked about that a lot, I think day 1, right? Day 2 too, I think a little bit too. Because it uplifts, it nourishes the soul. Beauty honors, and it says, well, you matter, and this moment matters, because again, we're not just putting beauty just to impress and just to show how much we can and who we are. And no, we put beauty because we are celebrating human beings here. We are celebrating the sacred life into everyone, in every human being right here. Or we're maybe even celebrating one person for I don't know, a birthday or a job or whatever it is. We are celebrating life, and life is sacred. So you see, this is always, I go deep down into this because this matters. It's not just, okay, let's have fun. Yes, it is. Most people take this way. But if your intention is deeper, even if it's silent, it's just between you and you. Instead of saying, I want people to have a good time. Great. That's great. But if you open your intention almost spiritually and honoring, I want, in an hour, my guests are going to come. And of course, I want them to have a good time. But my soul is welcoming them. And the sacred life in me is welcoming their sacred life in them, and I'll do the best I can to have the meal and do the things, etc. But if you open that consciousness, the results will not be the same. That you will create space for magic to happen, even if you don't even talk about this woo-woo stuff, right? But you will see, if you open your consciousness to more possibilities, to more spirituality, to more sacredness and love, and seeing beyond the concrete, oh my goodness, you will see that there will be this sacred atmosphere that will be present because you created space for that. You announced, you claimed, you reclaimed, and you put your intention in a grander intention, you see? And it can just be, well, having your friends, you invited them 1 hour ago and you asked them to come and hop by to eat a pizza at your home. But if you just put the intention of, okay, we like these friends, it's going to be great, but I'm just dropping in my heart and I want to welcome them with this sacred notion of life is sacred. Watch out, because there's going to be something else, a mixture, an extra thing, an extra magical or divine or whatever you call it thing that will really uplift the moment. You will be surprised, because then when you create space for that, maybe your conversation will be uplifted. Maybe there will be opportunities, or maybe there will be insights, or maybe there will be connections that have never been before. So this, it's not on my slides. You see, it's really inspired to me right now, but this is what I do. This is how, I mean, you deepen and you uplift in a way that is pretty magical and that brings you a lot of efficiency, you will see. So, beauty doesn't have to be fancy. Elegance isn't reserved for luxury, no. It can be expressed in fresh herb, on a simple dish, for example, a clean, inviting space, a softly folded napkin, kind smile, a nice, colorful outfit. I mean, we need beauty because when I told you the other day, when we see elegance, we see beauty because elegance is beauty in movement. And when your heart goes, oh, wow, oh, this feels good, or wow, then that means you're uplifted. And you don't need much for that. You see, we had 50 people on Saturday at home. And since I knew that I had a lot of work to do, well, I did a very simple dinner. Well, it was quite simple. I just did it for 50 people. But it was really nothing extraordinary. You know, for dessert, I just took some yogurt. In French, we would say fromage blanc. It's maybe more like cream cheese, but looks more like Greek yogurt. And the weekend before, I took all the raspberries and the red little berries and the strawberries that I found in my garden, the cherries also, and I put them in the fridge. I iced them. They got iced, and when the day came, I just mixed all that up with some sugar, some rose flavor, natural rose flavor to give a little twist, and fresh herbs of mint that I cut from the garden. I mean, it was super simple. I mean, a child could mix that up, right? But I took care of the presentation, so it was very countryside thing. It wasn't a 3-star restaurant in Paris. No, not at all. But it was beautiful. And it doesn't have to be fancy, you see. It's just some fresh cut mint on the top. I also put some black sesame seeds because it pops. It's good looking. And it only took me a couple of minutes to do that. So really simple, but very uplifting. Just giving you some ideas since I'm talking about this. It's the intention behind the gesture that makes it elegant. Because my intention was that I had it to be very simple to do, but I still wanted it to be very elevated because I like it when it's beautiful. And you probably know I was an artist before. I was a painter. And so I like all of those things. And it just makes my heart sing. So this is what you must do. Follow your heart. Beauty is a language of love. You're not trying to impress. You're creating an atmosphere that says you are honored. You are welcome here. Make people feel seen through your care. Make your table speak joy and appreciation. Let your home be a celebration of life. It doesn't have to be perfect. And really, I make mistakes. Of course I do. But when you do things with the heart, it doesn't have to be perfect because people feel it when you're authentic and you're in your heart and you greet them and you try to treat them. So the principle of simplicity now is the third principle. True elegance isn't complication. It's graceful simplicity. Simplicity now is not the absence of effort, right? If simplicity is just not making any efforts or not taking into consideration the principle that we've just talked about, it's not called simplicity. It's called having low standards or just not being mindful enough. You know, there are people, you go to their house, but they don't even think that you're not easy. They don't even think that you're not so comfortable. They don't even think that you're hungry or you're thirsty. They don't even think that it should be great that they offer you something. They just don't even think about it. So elegance is about opening up our consciousness, being mindful of ourselves and of others and the environment, right? It's about really being very awake. And yes, I insist here, because in France, sometimes people don't dress because we have to be simple, right? But I see around me, and I talk to that a lot in the Elegance Foundations, a lot of stories about old money, new money. But some people lose themselves in simplicity because they think simplicity is just letting go. It's low standards. In fact, it's not. Simplicity is mindfulness and heart. It's the art of making things easy, warm, and human. So let's be clear. Simplicity is not laziness. Or simplicity, yes, is not just letting go. Simplicity is not skipping effort, and it's not being careless. Simplicity is about clarity, intention, and kindness. It's refinement in its most honest and accessible form. You can host people with simple potatoes, delicious butter, salt and pepper, and a green salad. I mean, the basics, right? But if you are here and you are there completely with your heart and you're doing it some kind of beautifully, well, that is what will elevate the whole thing. It doesn't need sophistication, doesn't need complicated stuff. It doesn't need to be a 3-star. It can, of course, if you want. It can, of course, if it's your joy. Sometimes I make things that are complicated, but for the fun of it and for the excitement of it, and it's perfect. And sometimes we can buy expensive food to taste and to there's nothing wrong with one way or the other. It's just that in both cases, simplicity of the heart, number one. Simplicity in action. It's asking questions when you don't know. When you're, for example, when you are the guest, then when you don't know and you don't want to be rude or you don't, no, just have the simplicity to ask questions. Simplicity is also adapting with joy to casual situations. I mean, if you are not adapting to a situation because you think, oh, then there's sort of judgment or comparison, or so simplicity is also about adapting to situations, right? Now, of course, there are situations that you will prefer and that you prefer not. There are circles, social circles that you like to go to, and others you don't like because it's less your style, and you don't have many interest with certain people. And that is absolutely fine. I mean, we don't have to force ourselves to go in directions we don't want. But when we're stuck at some place, well, we have to adapt, and then we just continue our lives the other rest of the time. So simplicity is offering more food with warmth, for example. Would you enjoy a little more? It's also letting go of stiffness and connecting instead. So whether you eat with a spoon or your fingers, do it with joy, awareness, and presence. Like, I know I see this sometimes on social media. Oh, don't eat your French croissant like this, and don't dip your French croissant in the coffee, etc. That's not the question. You can absolutely eat your French croissant and bite it like this instead of tearing it like some people advise you to do. The thing is, you just have to eat it neatly. No slurping, no sounds, no. But I mean, French people eat sometimes their French croissant and dip it in the coffee, and they just love it. Of course, it's not supposed to be that way, but if you love doing it and you're in a setting where you think it's possible, then do it. I mean, you have let's have the simplicity to be able to eat that food correctly this way. People in France, they don't do that with their little finger. No, they take that French croissant and they just bite it, right? Or if you are in a dining room and it's a little bit more elevated, what you can do is cut it into two. Some people even add butter in it. Some people add jam in it. I mean, what you have to do is just eat it neatly. That's all. It won't be a problem. So, elegance without pressure. Simplicity is comfort and consciousness. So don't overcomplicate, don't shrink to please, don't force rules that create tension. Just show up with lightness, laughter, presence, kindness, confidence, and let your guests feel at ease by being at ease yourself. So relax. There's nothing wrong going on, because if you are the host, I mean, you should be thanked for what you're doing. So you're doing a marvelous job of inviting these people. So relax, because anyways, it's going to be perfect in the imperfect. So trust yourself and don't get too stressed out with what's happening. Just get organized and do the best you can and drop into your heart, because that's only what matters. So the most important thing is that all your guests feel valued, heard, and seen. So be mindful of paying attention to, this is a big one, to the children or the teenagers that may come. Get them involved, talk to them. For example, when I have, mixed generations this way, and I have rather little ones or teenagers, then if I have to go in the kitchen and get some stuff back on the table, then I would say, come with me. And then in the kitchen, I would have a little chat with them, and I'll get them involved. I'll ask them, would you prefer this or that? Oh, do you want to taste this? I mean, to really get them involved. And there's also paying attention to the older people, right? Because older people, well, when they're very old, they don't hear well, or they don't see well, or they're tired. And so you make sure that they feel included at all times. Never let them alone in a corner, for example. Bring them drinks and food and joy, the most important. And so elegance is about including everyone. That's very important. Never exclusion, never letting people, well, I don't like these people, so of course, then if people respond or not, but you do your job. You try to include everyone. Now, some people will let themselves be included, and others will not respond. Well, then just do your best to still include them, but then it's everyone's choice. So we can't force people. We're just wanting them to be comfortable. So we have to adapt to situations. And also, when you have people that are new friends or people that you know less, then they need more attention than the one you already know well. So usually, in France, for example, when we have the table set, my husband is in front of me across the table, and me too. So I would have at my right the most important man, and at my left, the second most important man. And my husband would have at his right the most important woman and the second important woman. And those people, if you have a mix of friends, for example, or family that you know very, very well, and then you have some new people that you just met, or they're not so familiar with you, then you would honor them, putting them on your right and then on your left. This is just an example. But to show you And then you would be mindful of having the conversation on your right and on your left, and get interested in what they do, what their projects, what they love, etc., etc. I go into those conversations in the dining etiquette workshop. So, over the last few days, we've shared something very precious together. The truth that elegance isn't about being perfect, right? It's about being fully alive, grounded, radiant, and intentional. And maybe you've started to feel it already if you've went through all these days with me, and it's not finished because tomorrow we're going to go through elegance in relationships. So you don't want to miss that one too. And the spark, maybe you feel the spark, the remembering, the possibility of what your life could feel when you embody this version of yourself every day. Can you see the direction? So I want to invite you deeper into a space where this isn't just a beautiful idea, but where you can embody it and where it's your new reality. And this is where the Elegance Foundations program begins. And I would love to walk with you in this program. And so these are my two daughters, Maris and Leonor. And what if your lifestyle felt aligned with your values? Because you have the heart values and you have a certain number of values, right? And what if your lifestyle felt really nourishing to your heart and soul? Because time flies by. And sometimes we opt for easy, letting go, lowering our standards because we're tired or whatever, or we have to make it simple. But life needs to be celebrated, not with super sophistication and complicated and exhausting things, no, but just simply elevated with your heart, right? Nourishing to heart and soul. And beautiful also in both small and grand moments. And you feeling confident, grounded, and magnetic, right? Saying to yourself, this is the version of me I was always meant to be. I always wanted to live that way, right? So inside the program, the Elegance Foundation program guides you through the art of dressing with intention, the power of elegant communication, creating a home and life that reflects you, cultivating a mindset of beauty and worth, and developing all the habits, the rituals, and the rhythms that will uplift you. Plus, there is community support and life coaching calls with me on one package because, I created 3 packages. I'm just so excited about helping women, and I just see the transformation in these containers, if I speak this way. And so that's the reason why I created 3 different price points, 3 different packages, so everyone can get a bite of this, can get a big piece of this. And here's a testimonial which touches me particularly. And she says, "You changed my life in the most extraordinary, impactful, fun way. I'm so grateful to have found you. All your coaching classes uplifted my life in a way I did not know was even possible." I mean, can you imagine this? An elegance program. Thank you from my whole heart. And so this is for you if you're ready to stop second-guessing yourself, shrinking or people-pleasing, settling for a lifestyle that feels fine but not fulfilling, and if you're ready to start living with elegance, discernment, joy every single day. And here's another testimonial. "You have been a blessing to me over this course." Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what you will feel confident in your style and presence. You will feel aligned with who you truly are, just not once in a while, but much more. You will feel at ease in your home, in gatherings, and in front of the mirror. You'll feel more alive, not overwhelmed, and surrounded by support from myself, beauty, and growth. So join the Elegance Foundation program. I mean, doors are open, so I'm going to open the door right now. Start offer. Here you're going to see the offer right now. You can click on the link if you want to join. And join me. I am just so happy. I've created this with all my heart. So if you liked this challenge, if you can see all the progress and the insights and the changes inside already with 4 days, well, imagine what you can get diving into this program. And there's a limited offer. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. And I really want everyone to get a chance to uplift their lifestyle. So I created 3 different price points and packages. So are you ready to embark on this elegance and confidence journey with me? Let's go, right? So you have instant access to my 5-class signature series, and all packages have this. The Elegance Foundations program. They all have this, where you will learn the foundational principles of elegance and plant the seeds of lasting transformation, right? Everything in elegance stems from here, these 5 classes. Classes are 1.5 hours to 2 hours each. It's big work. You take notes. I bring you deep. I tell you a lot of stories, a lot of things. You have tips, tools, everything. These are pre-recorded classes that aren't just theory. It's a turning point. You walk away with practical tools and an emotional shift that changes how you carry yourself from the inside out. I mean, I've had a lot of testimonials going in that direction telling me this. So it's time to start showing up as the woman you were born to be, right? This is your homecoming. It's coming back home to who you really are, to true elegance, right? So I'm just going to go real quickly because I've already did that yesterday through the 5 classes and giving you all the bonuses so that you can hear them. Maybe this will ring a bell for you. So this is where all begins, right? The elegance, what it is, what it's not. Here's a 3 simple step method to really feel elegant anytime. And we go very deep. And there we have mindset shifts so that you don't force things. And we're not chasing perfection, of course. Class 2 is the fundamentals of elegance. And here, this class is, I like this class because, well, I like all of them, but I tell you stories of what really happens in old money French families because you will be surprised. It is not at all what you see on social media. And there are many things that you can learn from in some principle over there. Super interesting. And practical actions to nourish both your heart and your lifestyle. Oh, there's an alignment ritual to activate embodied elegance. Also, and then social elegance, you'll find, and I'll answer your questions at the end, okay? Dollars work too, yes, of course. You just pay this way and the bank does the exchange. I'm in France and sometimes I purchase coachings overseas in dollars and it just happens automatically. All my clients, they pay, they just click follow and the exchanges rates do themselves automatically. So here, this one is the foundational exercise to activate self-love even when life gets hard, and how to stand confident in social interactions and conversation and faux pas, and how not be a people pleaser, energy drain, etc., etc. I'm going fast because I already told you all of that yesterday. And here, 3 sets of principles for embodied everyday elegance. And here is all about your confidence and your personal style and how to develop creativity too. And class 5, I love this class because I'm passionate about communication. I'm passionate about love relationships, about chivalry and polarity between men and women, and how elegance can shape really intimacy and romantic connections, and it can also shape your relationships with at work or with your children, grandchildren, family, whatever, friends. This is an important one. And then there's the class six that is a Q&A that is pre-recorded too. And that's very interesting because my clients ask me very concrete questions, and it's very practical, and it's probably the question that you ask yourself too. So you see here I have the 3 different packages, and this is all in the 3 different packages. And this, be careful, because this will be available until Monday, June 30th at midnight Pacific time. So I put my time on Los Angeles. And there are limited spots for some things that I have to talk to you about. And there are many bonuses. So all the 3 packages, they get these bonuses. Philippa Mitchell is really a lovely woman, and she dropped me a 5-minute face yoga routine, which is really, I mean, I do this every single day, right? So if you want an uplift, do that. And Charlie Gray, an adorable woman, who she gave me a special cakes and biscuit recipe book for tea time, and I went through it, and my favorite is the healthy Snickers, and I spotted 1 or 2 that I like too. So this is amazing, and the pictures are beautiful. I mean, just going through is just a gift, right? So all different 3 packages have this, right? And then there's the signature collection, where you have full access to my workshop, plus a live Q&A. And these are for the 2 bigger packages. Okay, there's a live Q&A and full access. Now I'm going to go real quick because I've already done that yesterday, but here is Uplift Your Overall Lifestyle. This is Discover Your Outfits and Colors, hair, face, and makeup workshop. And I just do the thing in front of you. I show you my routines, everything. And the workshops are super practical, very practical. And I also have my dining etiquette workshop, which is a very big workshop because it's not just a one-time workshop. It's like a 3-day workshop. And there's a Christmas workshop, and then there's the travel and summer workshop. And everything is always with a lot of mindset, but always with practical things that you just put into your life, and your life changes. You changed my life in the most extraordinary, impactful, fun way. I'm so grateful to have found you. All your coaching classes uplifted my life in a way I did not know was possible. You have been my greatest inspiration to change. I feel so different, and I am truly loving myself. Can you believe this? My goodness. Since investing in your program last year, my closet and drawers are completely revamped to reflect my style, my needs, my tasks, my activities, my values, and my colors. Oh my goodness. I look forward to dressing and taking care of my hair and skin each day and night, and additionally, having separate clothing for work and non-work has improved my mental state. I mean, can you imagine how far this goes? I'm just so proud of these women. Now, the biggest package, which is Elegance Immersion, plus there are 4 live group coaching calls, and plus access to a private WhatsApp group, which means that you can have me supporting you like every day, right, in your pocket. And all the lives, even the live Q&A, they will start the week of, it's written when you sign up. I put the date. I don't have it right here, but it's the week of the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th of July, somewhere. I know it's a Tuesday at 7 p.m. hour of Paris. But what I generally do, according to the people who sign up, if there are not so many people, then I try to find something that suits everybody so everyone can join live. I mean, I'm a very flexible person. I try to make you comfortable and at ease. I try to live what I preach, right? So it's my joy to really welcome you and host you in my programs. and I do the best I can to serve you, really. So how much does this cost? And it's not done because I have an extra bonus. So, but this is important because, you know, money mindset is really important. An elegant money mindset, let me tell you this, it's not about spending, it's about investing. And you will see that old money people, they know how to invest. They do not spend, they invest. They invest in themselves. They invest in that woolen 100% wool sweater, you know. They invest in things that will then, they invest in learning, they invest in studies, they invest because they know they will have their money back, you know, they will have multiplied, abundance back multiplied. So how does this cost? So my question for you is, what's the cost of a pair of shoes or a beautiful bag, right? These things may be satisfying for a couple of days, but then how are you going to deal with the questions you're asking yourself regularly about your lifestyle and how to be more elegant in the long run? How are you going to feel in front of the mirror tomorrow? Because yes, you bought an extra thing, but if you don't know and if you don't study how to embody and practice that, well, that has a cost. What's the cost of spending another year feeling like you do? Buying things you're not really sure about or not feeling so confident, right? So know that as a life coach and an elegance coach, I will give you life-changing principles, and you can read more testimonials. I have a ton of them, and processes to help you really shift your perspective and inspire you for deep transformation. And a bag or a pair of shoes can't do that. This is going to be a gift for yourself for this summer. Okay, all of this is valued. Okay, this is valued over like the big one, 3,200, and today you only pay 697. Valued over 2,200 and you only pay 347. So you choose what feels good to you, but I would really want that everyone who joined this Elegance Challenge week, I mean, if you loved it, you're going to love it even more because you'll have way more in this. I mean, you will love it, very certainly. And here is my limited offer for the Elegance Immersion package, which is the biggest package. If you are among the first 10 people to register, you will receive a private one-on-one coaching session with me so that you have more personalized support for your transformation. So I'm just making a short recap. Elegance Immersion, you have everything, okay? All the classes, all the workshop library, and all the lives. Plus, if you're one of the 10 first, you get a one-to-one coaching session with me. The signature collection is the mid-range thing. And here you still have a live Q&A, right? And then you have all the workshops and all the full foundation programs with the 2 bonuses. And then if you have like a tight budget, well, then you still have my fundamental Elegance Foundation program. You have the essentials here. Plus you have these 2 bonuses and the recorded Q&A question. So this was excellent. The program was amazing. Oh, your program transformed my life beyond what I thought was possible. Thank you very much. So giving you again this little recap, and before ending this call, so click on the link to join the Elegance Foundation program. Really, this, if you are at a point of your life where you really want to shift, you really want to be renewed, then instead of buying an extra bag, or it was yesterday or the day before, I Googled the amount spent of American women per year on clothes, and it was like over 1,000 or 2,000. It was quite a lot of money, right? But what's interesting is that on that range of amount spent, well, the most women don't wear everything in their closet. They only they don't wear 30 to 50 or 60% of clothes in their closets. So before wanting to buy an extra thing, why don't put yourself into your alignment, into who you really are, to then be able to shop mindfully, to then be able to be yourself, to show up and to glow who you really are, but in a much more aligned way that feels like you. So really, if you feel the pull, if you like the way I talk and teach you, well, then join the program. And tomorrow, day 5, we're going to go in elegance in relationships, speak with the heart, set graceful boundaries, and connect deeply without guilt or people pleasing, without being drained and all that. And I have 2 questions for you. I would really be happy to know what touched or inspired you most in today's class. This gives me also an indication, because then, I complete my program and I can see also what resonates and what we can talk about in the Q&A and in the group coachings. And what question would you like to ask me in the chat right now? So please do listen to your heart, because your heart knows, your inner being knows what to do. If you feel that you're at a point in your life where you need a little refresh, or you're in transition, like you divorced, or you stopped working, or you're changing jobs, or you're changing life places, or your life is changing, or your body is changing, or whatever it is, and you need like a new dynamic, new ideas, new inspiration and motivation, then this is probably your moment to click and join me and be inspired and really renew yourself. I mean, give yourself the gift of investing in yourself, to really truly expand yourself and develop yourself. When we're not increasing, when we're not expanding, when we're not learning, we're decreasing. Well, we're just stagnating. And our heart and soul, that's what I said, I think it was yesterday, we need to learn. We need to be uplifted. We need to be guided. And when I did that, my goodness, how much it changed my life. I would not be here in front of you doing all of what I'm doing right now. So if you have any questions, let me see. Thank you for this class tonight. See you tomorrow. Thank you for your inspiration and warmth. Oh, thank you so much. Something that stood out was the comment you made about not renewal. I don't quite understand what you're saying, Diana, right here. The comment you made about not renewal. Don't know what that means. Well, Diana, if you're still here and you want to ask me the question another way, because I don't see what you mean. So before today, I thought maybe something was wrong with me because I haven't enjoyed many parties. Now I realize that most of the events I went to were not heart-centered. I feel relieved now. Yes. Can you imagine this? Oh, this is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing that. I enjoyed knowing that simplicity, when entertaining, is still very acceptable. Not only it's still very acceptable, it is a pillar, right? It is one of the pillars of hosting. Really, this is very important. I also like hearing how I can help guests feel at ease. Absolutely. No strict rules as long as you do it neatly. Exactly. Don't make a fuss of the things and just because, I mean, let's be true to ourselves. If you're here, this means that you are mindful, that you want to do things neatly, that you want to uplift your style. So that means you're already aware. So if you go at a dinner party and they're eating some kind of food and you don't really know how to deal with it, well, you're not going to be like a nobody, who does his thing. No, you're just going to be aware. You're going to watch everyone else do the thing, and you're going to observe and say, oh, it looks like this is the way I'm supposed to do it, and you'll do it. And if you're not too sure, you'll just ask, oh, I've never done this before. What's the way we're supposed to do it? And so you're already all excused, right? You're already, it's already perfect in the imperfect. So, do your sessions on dining etiquette show us how to organize a large dinner without getting frizzly? Yes, exactly. Yes. On the dining etiquette, yes, I help you get organized. I help you prioritize. I help you see how you can do all those things without getting frazzled. I don't know that word, but I guess it means stressed. And yes, and you will see, I mean, I never stress for these big gatherings, even if it's 150 people. If you tell me, well, tomorrow we've got to host 50 people, can you do something? I say, okay, yeah, sure. I just need my schedule to be empty so that I can do that for you tomorrow, but no problem at all. I mean, I have no doubt. It's so much fun. And not only it's so much fun, but I'll be super creative. I know I have things that I know how to do, but I'm even going to be able to create things on the spot. And I just know I can trust. I just know I can do this, and I'll have ideas coming through because I know how to put myself into the receiving mode and get the things done. You see? Exhaustion is draining. Moving through the same patterns does nothing for us. Yes, exhaustion is draining. And it's at the core of exhaustion is the same patterns that don't serve us, that create that exhaustion, Diana. Yes. So what you want to do is not just trying to not be exhausted, which is only the outcome, because if we are exhausted, it's about the patterns we have inside. It's about the limiting beliefs of we have to work very, very hard to get an ounce of satisfaction, or I'm not sure I can do this because I don't expect myself to be good enough to do this. So this stresses me out. So if you have this kind of belief for example, where I don't feel worthy that I can do that, well, this creates fear, it creates stress, and that exhausts you. So it's not the stress, in fact. Well, the stress creates exhaustion, but what creates the stress at the first place? It's your thought patterns. You understand? So at the beginning, you have the thought patterns. I explained that in my coachings. You have the thought patterns that lead to emotional patterns. So if you feel like I'm not worthy, I'm not going to be able to do that, then your emotions are going to match those thoughts. So the emotions won't be too great. And then you get the result of the match of your thoughts and your emotions when they're negative, let's say negative, well, then the result is that it drains you, it stresses you out. And then result after the stress, then you're exhausted, right? So that's why I insist a lot on mindset. Because, well, of course, people want to know the fork, how many glasses, and I go through that. I show you exactly what I do for Christmas. I show you exactly what I do for a gathering, and but that's what you want first. But if all of that makes you feel stressed, you've got to first get into the embodied elegance mindset, because then you can relax and you can trust yourself, and you know you can trust life, that life is happening for you and not to you, and that if you open up in the receiving mode, and I show you exactly how to do that and how to practice it, then little by little, having 50 people, 100 people, 150 or 200 people, you'll do that quite easily and with a lot of fun, believe me, because you know how to deal with it and you know how to have fun with it. And if you say to yourself, well, I'm not creative, I'm not this, yeah, but you were an artist, but not me. Well, you are creative because this is your essence. So, of course, I did paintings before. Maybe you don't do paintings, but you create no matter what. Every single person on earth is a creative because it's part of your essence. It's just the beliefs we have, that we give ourselves permission to step in there or not, because your soul, your heart, he loves colors. I mean, your divine self inside, she loves colors. She loves dressing. She loves being the woman you are meant to be. If you think you're too stiff or not too in that, is that you don't let her explain herself fully, right? And this is what I'm here for, to really guide you to open up and unleash yourself. So, merci, thank you very much. Thank you for today. See you tomorrow. The comment you meant about the importance of renewal and refreshing to move forward with curiosity and more love. Thank you so much. Oh, now I understand what you say. Thank you, Diana. Yes, renewal and refreshing. Really, what I would say right now when I read this is make yourself this gift. Gift yourself this gift of renewal, of being uplifted. We all need this. Not every single day of the year, but because we women, we function in cycles, right? I'm not a coach that will tell you, go, push through for 30 days, the exact way, the same way every day. No, I have other ways to coach you, because we women, we work by seasons, we work by rhythms. So it's also about, okay, let's gift myself a good refresh, a good renewal with this program if it resonates with you, and then you'll sit with it, and then you'll let yourself you'll let that program infuse, you'll let the program do its work, and then you'll be inspired and you'll want to do a lot of things, and it'll get you going for a while, and then at some point, then afterwards, later on, you'll want to learn about something else. Learning is really part of the game. So, what touched me the most today was it's about connection. That isn't only for parties, of course not. Learning is always great, but sometimes renewal is what one needs. But yes, Diana, learning means that you're nourishing. If you think learning is just great, it means that it's just nourishing your intellect. But when you really learn, and it feels very satisfying and nourishing, it means that not only you're nourishing your intellect, but you're also nourishing your person, your heart, your soul, who you really are. This is when I say learning, I don't just talk about learning for the intellectual part. It's like learning in every cell of your body, because that is the learning, the expansion that nourishes us, body, heart, and soul, right? So, thank you for this. I'm looking forward to sharing elegance with my family and friends and showing everyone around me more kindness, love, and elegance. I'm happy. Thank you. Do you give advice on what clothes brands you advise, please? I really like your clothes style. Also, I love to know if there is a particular brand. Thank you. So, about the brands, I know I have been asked a lot about brands, but imagine this. I have people all over the world. So it's pretty hard. It's not that easy to find brands that ship all over the world. Some do. And the thing is, I'm not particularly a brand person. That's another thing, because I know that when I want something, universe will give it to me. And in ways, I don't know, sometimes it's in surprising ways. And I prefer tell you, when you want something and you feel it's aligned, God, universe will provide, rather than telling you this brand is good, go there, because we're all different. And I have a very, very large community, so it can be different from one person. But what I also want to tell you is that with my assistants, we're working on this to try to find brands that that I feel beautiful and that could nourish my community. So this is something we're working on. But the most important thing is that you learn to teach your eye to see and spot. As I said, I think it was on day 2, when I go in a shop with my girls, we always laugh because they would, when I go somewhere, I spot something, and my daughters would say, "Oh, I knew you would go there." You see? So this is how you have to get to the point where, oh, I know myself, I know where I'm going, and that you're not only going for the t-shirts and the black things, right? That you're going to your true self. And the more you do the work inside, the more you will find what you love. And guess what? By law of attraction, I know this sounds fluffy, but this works. If you start being clear on what you want, on what feels good to you, then things will come to you. So that's why it's super important to really calibrate yourself to your energy, to what you desire, to what makes your heart sing, because then you will see, it's like the algorithm. Universe will bring you more of that. If you start looking at recipes on Instagram, well, the algorithm will bring you more and more recipes. Well, that's the same thing with the universe. When you start being clear on who you are, what you want, where you want to go, how elegant you want your lifestyle to be, well, get ready. Fasten your seatbelt, because this is what's going to happen. The algorithm of life will bring you that in your life. So this is why you have these testimonials that are so uplifting. It's because it's about aligning, and then things come into they come into your reality. I hope this helps. So thank you so much for being here. I think there are no more questions. So now, please sign up. You will be amazed and by the results, the transformations, and the little stores, and the tools, and the big stuff, and the small stuff. Really, I invite you to come and join me. And for now, I will say good night, because we're going tonight. For me, it's 8:30 p.m. And I'll say bye-bye. Seeing you tomorrow for day 5. Thank you so much.